Savvy Business Radio, drawing out the best from our guests with our host, Christina Nichman.
Our guest today is Mary Shenouda, highly sought-after private chef to A-lister actors, professional athletes, and high-octane entrepreneurs. Today, Mary shares her story on what led her to a life of clean eating. She also shares some of her top business tips. Find out more about Mary at thepaleochef.com. You can visit her on Instagram and Twitter at Paleo Chef. Hi, Mary. Welcome to Savvy Business Radio. How are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
You betcha. You are here today to talk about your businesses. You've created a number of very successful businesses. Share what brought you to the world of entrepreneurship.
I think for some people, being an entrepreneur is somewhat baked into their DNA.
Yes.
Because I can remember as far back being a kid, always trying to run a business, whether it was the block nanny or collecting all the golf balls from the golfers that's hit them into my front yard and then trying to sell it back to them. A little finder's fee for you. So I think early on you realize that that's somewhat in your DNA. And I'm actually a high school dropout. Dropped out with good grades, and as a varsity tennis player, it just wasn't the environment for me. And went straight into corporate America and was doing sales, technology sales and consulting, which while you're on a team, it's still somewhat of an individual role and it's based on your performance.
Yeah.
So sales also helps really highlight and hone in any entrepreneurial skills you're going to have because, success or failure is on your shoulders.
Yes.
And, from second grade through my last day at corporate, I was pretty sick my whole life. I just kind of had to deal with certain ailments as far as like migraines or hives or bloating or hormone issues that no one could really figure out. So I accepted as my baseline as, this is the best I'm going to feel and I'm not going to let it affect my livelihood. So I went on to do all the things that I wanted to do. Around 24, 25, I was in the ER a lot for it. So I always scheduled. I just knew I'd be in the ER once or twice a month as a result of my migraines because they would get so bad.
Wow.
That I would vomit until I would black out from dehydration and somebody would find me blacked out and I get back to the ER and they'd give you morphine and Phenergan and IV. And it was one of my last visits like that where I was really frustrated with them band-aiding my symptoms without telling me why in the world would I get random migraines all the time. And I went home, did some research. I decided to be really type A in that avenue because I was type A everywhere else, but for some reason just trusting doctors with my health. And I found a TED talk by Dr. Terry Walls about supporting your mitochondrial function. And at that time in San Francisco, CrossFit and Paleo were words that were becoming popular. And when I sent out my own lab work to test for gluten sensitivity, I found that I was actually celiac, which is it's an autoimmune disease that makes it impossible for you to digest gluten. And I also found out I was intolerant to casein, which is a protein similar to gluten, but it's found in dairy products and soy. So for me, that was like the greatest day of my life. You're telling me I just don't eat these things and I feel better. It was much easier to say paleo because casein, gluten, soy. So paleo was popular. I just would say that. And changing the way that I ate 3 months later, everything that ever bothered me went away.
Wow. And then you're a private chef and founder of Fat Fudge, which I love the name of. But what kind of prompted you to start that? Was it this whole journey to health discovery for you?
So in corporate America, I also did corporate coaching.
Okay.
And I was working with a client who asked me what I did differently with my diet. You've always been a go-getter, but now you seem really healthy. You're not at your desk with sunglasses anymore and coding.
Yeah.
So I was explaining what I ate, and I've always cooked my whole life. It's just part of the culture that I'm in. And this gentleman said, I don't really have time to cook for myself. Would you be willing to cook for me? And I jokingly said, I don't cook for people. I manage multi-million-dollar contracts. Yeah. And he's like, well, I'm willing to pay this much for a private chef. And in San Francisco, I joke, you can make really good money and still be poor.
Wow.
Because the cost of living is just so high. So I viewed this as a side hustle. I'm like, I'm just going to cook for this person part-time, make some extra money. And within 2 weeks of that, I had my wisdom teeth removed, and the way that they were impacted, I had to be put under for it. And when I came to, my oral surgeon was like, I'm so excited you're going to be my private chef. So my subconscious, in my drugged state, pitched myself as a private chef.
No, you.
So those are my first two clients. I tried to manage both, being a private chef and my quota in sales. My body shut down. I had to choose one or the other. I knew I could always go back to a corporate job, so I decided to say screw it, and I went all in on being a private chef. And within a few months of committing to that, again, paleo is becoming really popular. I secured Paleochef.com. So within those few months, juggernauts that have founded these major tech companies, major athletes, major chefs are reaching out to me to work with me. And so that's how Paleo Chef began.
And it's so amazing, Mary, is that I think sometimes you just take a path in life that betters you, and it opens doors of opportunity to, say, like your case, a business that you wouldn't really have expected earlier to do becomes now your passion and purpose in helping people in life.
Yeah, I say a lot that the uncertainty in life is the most generous source of opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and being open to it. It's interesting that you could have just said to the doctor, I don't know what you heard when I was under, but it's totally a lie. No, but you ran with it, which is awesome. And you grabbed that opportunity, which opened up, many more doors and a whole now purpose that you can actually show people that, hey, you don't have to feel crappy 24/7. There is another way.
Yeah. And it's been a few years now, and I'm really humbled to see what has been created. So starting with a few clients now, I partner and consult with large firms. Like I worked with Nike all summer running their cafe and running the nutrition program there. Fat Fudge was an accident / on purpose. It was a need that needed to be fulfilled because I was a goo user prior to paleo, and I was making these little functional tahini butter fudge bombs for my professional athletes. And through development, I turned it into Fat Fudge, which has cacao, maca, turmeric, cayenne. And even that, the way that launched was my audience took a viral recipe that I posted and asked me to turn it into a product. And being really honest with them, I said, I don't know what I'm doing, but if you guys want to trust me and just pre-order and I'll figure it out, we can see if we can make this into a product. And just by calling on my audience and asking for help and being really honest that it could take 3 to 6 months for you to see a product at your doorstep, but to either get a product or a refund. Yeah. I was able to self-fund that business, and over this last summer passed $1 million in sales and in Whole Foods. And
wow. And this just rocks my boat. It's so amazing. And a lot of the business owners we've had on, some of them have started, it depends if they're a product or service or information, depending on what they're selling, but not everyone has great success with online business and building an online customer force. And you've done that quite well. But I think what I'm getting from you, though, that made it so perfect is that you were very honest. It was none of this fakeness. You're like, hey, if you want me to do this, I got to tell you, I don't know what I'm doing, but if you're willing to come in on this journey with me and co-create, or get your money back if it doesn't work out, you are being completely honest with them. And I think people don't realize they've got that option.
Yeah. You can't hack authenticity. You can't hack hard work. You can show people the hard work, and by virtue of them witnessing you do the work yourself. Like I didn't go out and beat my chest and raise money. I made money by making sales, and that's super old fashioned, and I don't know what happened to that, but people really respect that. And then they want to champion you. They want to support you. And from when I quit my corporate job, my Instagram changed. I said, okay, I just quit my job. I'm going to be a private chef. Follow along. Let's see if I'm homeless in a couple months. And so I make the joke like 4.5, 5 years later, like still not homeless. And it was just by sharing all of that. Some people, I get, they want to achieve their idea of greatness and then turn around and share that story. Whereas I like to be in the vortex, sharing with you as I'm going along. So with Fat Fudge, you get to watch when there's a tahini explosion. You're in the know when pallets are lost in another state, because I'm not ashamed of those mishaps, because they happen with every company. Yeah. Just not every company shares it.
Yeah. And it makes it so much real because everyone can relate to mistakes. No one's perfect. And it's funny, when I first got started with Savvy, it was, I call an accident, but it really wasn't. It was really a marketing tool for my consulting business. And I'd started at the same time a written blog that just exploded as well, called 101 Mistakes and What I Learned in Business. And it's just that, all my mistakes and then what I learned from them. And often I'll end up doing the same mistakes, looking slightly different. But it's an evolution in life. And I found it funny that some of my friends clients who are back in corporate said, you can't do that. No one's going to want to follow you or read your stuff when they hear that you're a mess up. But it's actually the opposite, because they're like, oh, okay, I can relate to a mess up. I do them all the time.
Yeah, I'm a nutcase. I don't want to pretend like I'm not. Like, people are like, you have to be so polished and refined. And I'm like, no, I'm a nutcase, and I'm neurotic, and I demand more of myself and the people around me. And that might seem like too much for some people, but if you look at my client list and you look at the companies I work with, it's working. It's working for me. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying someone else should be neurotic and demanding, because it may not be a good look for them, but it happens to be my personality. So I'm going to run with it.
Stay tuned for a few words from our sponsor. Are you a small business owner or service provider looking to find a way to streamline your business's finances and cut back on time-consuming data entry? How would you like to save up to 12 hours a week on your bookkeeping? The Neat Company has a solution. As a cloud-based data entry and document management software, they allow you to easily capture all of your expenses via mobile device, direct upload, scan, or email. My favorite feature of this awesome software is using my cell phone to take pictures of all of my business expenses, receipts, and invoices. The software then reads key elements of my document and integrates them directly into my accounting software, like QuickBooks. You can then run easy-to-understand reporting of all your expenses and data. Bookkeeping has never been made easier. The best part is you'll never have to struggle again at tax time getting all of your financial information together. And Neat Company offers a number of low-cost options for businesses of any size and budget. For our savvy listeners, the Neat Company is offering a special 30-day free trial. Visit neat.com/SBR. Again, to take advantage of a 30-day free trial, visit neat.com/SBR. Yeah, absolutely. What it also shows is that you're just being real. I mean, if you come out and everything looks super polished, and I've seen that in all the social media sites, well, someone will have a business and they'll only talk about the polished look. And it almost like, well, can I trust them? Because it seems too perfect. And we all know the greatest and best things were not created overnight. Like Rome wasn't built overnight. It took a lot of hard work, and like all great things to build it, it doesn't just come out of the box looking pretty. It took sometimes 20 years to build a great business.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get to just the beginning.
And tell me, we talked that you really have built online sales for sales funnel and clients that trust you. Is there a difference to selling online as opposed to in person? What have you found?
I don't do any sales funnels or any of that.
None of that stuff.
I don't do any of the typical marketing things. It's all that. So I've spent $0 on marketing.
Whoa.
There is no funnel when you buy a product for Fat Fudge. You just get your product and a thank you note. And all sales have been organic and inbound. The retail, like Whole Foods, reached out to me to carry the product. Thrive Market reached out to me to carry the product. Any celebrity that talks about it, I've never asked them to talk about it. So it is as grassroots, old fashioned as it is. And just because it's online doesn't mean I treat it any differently. Like if somebody were to come into my cafe, I'm not like, okay, well, before you walk in the cafe, I want you to stop at these 4 different locations in the cafe and go through your drip campaign before you actually get your muffin. I don't treat anybody in person that way. So I certainly don't treat them online that way either.
Well, I love this because there's so many people we've had on who've talked about their approach to sales, but it seems to me that it's mostly word of mouth and just based on giving and presenting an awesome product that people just love, and they're naturally just sharing it and coming to you for the product. You're not having to hunt them down.
Yeah. So when it gets to the point of where I do turn on marketing, it'll be that much more successful. But yeah, I get that I've done it very much unconventionally, and who's to say if I've made it more difficult for me, but I've also made much deeper, stronger roots. So when the strong winds of chaos in business come, my tree will still be standing because I did it a very particular way and on purpose.
Yeah. And for any business owner listening in that say they're just getting out of the gate and getting started, what would be your advice for a new business owner getting started?
Digital, physical, brick and mortar.
Well, it could depend on the business getting started. Let's start with online because that's becoming so popular with people thinking that's the easier way to go about things. I don't think it necessarily is.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't have a good answer for that because I didn't do it the way that's successful for the people around me. I just shared a story every day, consistently checking in with my audience, and people will start to find you and relate to your story. And I did that for 3 years before Fat Fudge was created. So I never sold anything. I still
that's
don't
great.
monetize my online presence. It's Fat Fudge or Private Chef, and that's it.
Well, that's great though. And that is a great testimony to anyone listening. There's not just one way to do things. As you said, some people, going out there and hitting the pavement and calling a billion people you don't know and kind of, push. I mean, that's the old way of sales and marketing. But today, I think what really sells, and I heard this from a very successful business owner recently on his YouTube page, is really, it's not the push. What really sells is stories that people can relate to. And that's what's promising about what you put out there. You weren't trying to push something in someone's face. You were giving. And that's what sales really is. You're giving something to people that they want.
I don't think I'm qualified to give advice. I actually don't think anybody is qualified to give advice, but I think everyone's qualified to share their story.
Yes. And your story really touched people. And that's what they're attracted to, because you were honest and not being real about what you're going through. And they want, okay, I can relate to that. I'm going through the same thing. I have awful migraines. Maybe this will help me and I can get rid of those migraines. Now, that's one thing that I found very interesting. This past year, I started my own health journey because I didn't have migraines, but I started to have a lot of sensitivity around bread stuff. And I have a thyroid autoimmune disease. And I was like, I don't want to pull this puppy out. And let's see if there's another way. Yeah. And it's amazing how many people I know that, the bread stuff doesn't work, or, just the processed foods that we take for granted, all these packaged things. And that, just picking up a vegetable and a fruit can make such a difference.
Go figure.
Yeah, go figure.
For me, I mean, if you're going to have a business, so any human being should follow this, but if you're going to be running a business, you need to be at your optimal health. So if you are starting a business, I'd say step number 1 is take care of your health. So you can actually show up and make decisions from a place of feeling good versus a place of feeling crappy. And that starts with not just removing the word bread, but removing gluten, grains, soy, processed sugar. Learn how to cook something that requires more than salt and pepper so you get the benefits of these other spices. Become insanely curious with your own movement and your body mechanics. And then you'll be functioning at a place like a badass that you can make decisions from feeling good. Because if I have a migraine, the decision I'm going to be making with my business probably has to do with how I feel in that moment. And I just want, just make the decision, just figure it out. I don't feel good. I want to go and sit in the dark. And that's not how I want to run my business.
And your life. One thing I found, there was, when I first got started with my consulting business, I would sit at my desk 16 hours a day trying to hit my head over the wall, trying to get more clients, trying to build it faster and whatever. And I would not leave my desk. And of course, I'm in a studio apartment, so my movement per day was like walking from my bed 3 feet away to my computer and sitting there for 16 hours, completely unhealthy. And then also eating badly. So what decisions could I be making that were for my best interest, for my personal life and my business? Not very many. And I finally got to the point after a bit that I need to get out and I need to walk, I need to move. And just getting out, and for a half hour, there was this guest that came on and said 30 minutes, 30 days, 30 minutes in nature. And she challenged all my audience to do it. And I decided to do it. And it's amazing, just that one step of getting out of your house, spending time in the park or whatever, but getting around in nature, breathing fresh air, moving, makes just the first step of just, getting healthy.
Yeah. It's those little incremental changes, because you go out, get some sunshine, your body starts to feel better, you get some movement, and then you're craving something. And then, over time, it won't be, I'm craving a Snickers. It'll be, I'm craving a salad, I'm craving a juice, and it's all connected. My motto is eat clean, play often, crush life. And you can't eat, play, crush with just one of those working. And I think over time, because one of my readers made a comment, she's like, I love how you don't really prescribe anything on your feed. Like, I don't. Like, I share with you what I'm doing. I share with you knowledge that I acquire. I share with you the projects that I'm working on. And I tell you, make, eat, play, crush your own. It's going to be different. I don't even like the word paleo. And it's ironic because I'm a paleo. I believe in paleo. What's going to work for you isn't going to work for me.
Ooh,
put it out there. And then you guys figure out what that looks like for you.
That is a really good point. We had a guy on a number of years ago who was a fitness trainer, and he said, what I do for one of my clients, whatever fitness regime we work out can't work for the next client because you have a totally different body, totally different biology. We have to structure it for you and in particular, your particular body. So it goes the same with your lifestyle and your food and your health and your fitness. You got to regiment it to your own self and what works and listen to your own body.
Yeah, I recommend everybody do hormone testing and gut bacteria testing. If they want to take a step further, neurotransmitter testing, and then identifying what they should be eating based on what is their body doing right now, not the diet book or the fad or whatever.
Yeah. And one of my past guests had said, I don't like the word diet because, people get so hung up on it. It's like, really, it's just, let's find the foods that work for you. Because when I started last year working on, I'm going to move more and then I'm going to add healthier foods, people would watch me eating a salad, which I hadn't eaten a lot of prior, and like, oh, you're on a diet? I'm like, no, I'm just changing my lifestyle. And I wanted to get on that focus of this is a lifestyle change, not so much a diet, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Well, this is great. And I want people to find out where they can find out more about you, and where can they do that?
So Instagram is where I play the most. So I'm at Paleo Chef on Instagram, and then Paleo Chef on Twitter, and then it's paleochef.com. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been totally enlightening, Mary, and I'm so hoping that it will enlighten people and get them thinking about what they can do to better their health, their life, their business, because they're all interconnected. When you get your health in order, I know for me, my business started to thrive even more, and so did my personal life. They're all interconnected. Yeah. So I thank you so much, Mary, for coming to share your great wisdom today on Savvy Business Radio.
Thanks for having me.
Savvy Business Radio broadcasts worldwide via a large podcast network, celebrating business owners, entrepreneurs, influencers, and successful individuals. Find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest. Call 732-474-7375 or email Christina at savvybusinessradio.com.